All right. Hi, and welcome back to AML 6506. This is awkward for those of you who are still here, but I just wanted to give you guys a few little pointers of background about Melville and then explain our assignment because it's a little different. A snapshot of Melville's career. In 1846 to 1850, he was a popular writer of sea yarns. That's important because we tend to think about Melville as being a really obscure figure who chased notoriety throughout his life and failed. In 1850 to 1852, he started becoming an experimental novelist, and that's where his major frustrations come in. We look back at that era as a time of genius, but in his own life and his letters and his journals, he was deeply depressed and he felt like no one understood him then. 1853 to 1857, he was broke and needed to write short things for money in magazines. And then he writes some poetry, but he kind of disappears from the scene for the rest of his life. Moby Dick is rediscovered in the 1920s after his death, and then that's when he kind of becomes a major American author. So Hawthorne, during his life, was considered a major American author as he was writing. Melville was not. Melville wrote to Hawthorne. They were friends. He said, "Dollars damn me. What I feel most moved to write, that is banned, it will not pay. Yet altogether write the other way, I cannot. So the product is a final hash, and all my books are botches. Though I wrote the Gospels in the century, I should die in the gutter." Just a snapshot of just how dark he feels about his writing career. He was connected to the major transcendentalists because he was friends with Hawthorne. He knew of Thoreau's acts of social protest, civil disobedience in Walden, and he knew and read Emerson and Thoreau's work. So you can look for glimmers and often critiques of transcendentalism in his writing, even Benito Cereno. And comparing him to other Gothics, why do you think Melville chose Delano as his narrator? I don't ask you guys too many questions about this book, by the way, because you're annotating it. So I want to see what comes up for you as you're reading instead of guiding you, like when you're doing something that's more kind of conventionally top down. But these are just a few basic questions that help you think about this work as a Gothic. So why did he choose Delano as his narrator? How is this focalization on one character different from Hawthorne's omniscience or Brown's epistolary form? Does it matter that Benito Cereno is from Spain? Things that you might want to look for in the novel or novella, I'm sure you'll find other things too. Imagery, particularly black, white, and gray. Animal imagery, descriptions of the ship itself, Gothic language and allusions to death. And thinking about the conclusion, what version of truth does it present? So in both of our novels so far, we've come to a conclusion where truth is revealed and there's somewhat of a sentimental kind of happy ending. We'll see how Melville compares to that. So for our reading with Melville, I have you guys annotating it in Perusall. This is my first time using this tool, but basically the assignment is as you read it. So this is where you'll find the PDF of Benito Cereno. When you click on that, you'll see that it loads annotating Melville in a new window. And it's going to pull it up as a PDF. I should have had Jeopardy music cued for the point when it's loading here. So it saved my place from when I was scrolling through last time. It gives you a little background of Benito Cereno, and then all that you have to do for this assignment is you could highlight something that someone's already written. So I ask a question here, and you can enter your answer if you want to. Or if you want to point something out, you highlight it yourself. So you might highlight "may be left to the wise to determine" and point out that this is a similar, whoops. So I'm just showing you what it looks like to write an annotation. This sounds similar to the uncertainty of Hawthorne's narrator. ideally your annotations would say more than just one short thing like that. So I just ask you guys to go through. I'm looking for annotations that get through the whole assignment. So I don't want to see all of your annotations in the first 3 pages. I want to know that you read the full thing. Perusal potentially creepily tracks how long you spend on each page. Just a heads up on that. I get a report of that information. But as you're reading, you just drop in notes, and then your peers will be able to see your notes as these kind of highlights, and they'll be able to click on it and see what you wrote and respond to it if they want to. So I encourage you guys as you read to look at what's already been highlighted and respond. It should feel like a kind of communal conversation. I'm hoping that it's one of the things that will make us feel like we're working on this together and we're not as isolated, even though we are very isolated in the age of COVID. But I hope that this helps. And if you have any questions or trouble with the tech, just let me know. Have a good day. All right, I have